Ahead this morning, crisis in the classroom. Erika Sanzi with Parents Defending Education joins us to discuss a controversial training video that one state had to stop after a parent raised questions and concerns. A mother and substitute teacher raised serious questions on an alarming, controversial teacher training video that eventually got it removed. Joining us this morning with this story is Parents Defending Education's Director of Outreach, Erika Sanzi. Good morning to you, Erika.
Good morning, Jan. Thanks for having me.
Of course. This came out of Utah. A state agency took down that training video for teachers that explained how to teach gender identity to students. And clearly, it was alarming enough to officials in Utah because it was taken down. Can you tell us what was included in that video?
Yes, and I'm actually going to look down a bit just because I want to make sure I get the quotes right. But basically, this video encouraged teachers to wholeheartedly invite students to explore their gender and engage in what they called gender play. One of the presenters said in the video, and again, I'm going to quote, that his time as a teacher had taught him how important it was to model gender play with students, especially young children. And then another presenter told teachers that it was important for them to take the courageous first step of asking students how they identify or what they identify as.
So what was the goal here?
So nobody has really provided a rationale for this. I mean, they took it down very quickly, and then they put out a very sort of bland statement that said, you know, we hired these people as subject matter experts. We love our LGBTQ youth, and we value parents. So I think they tried to check every box and essentially say nothing. But again, we're seeing so much of this where what it appears is that who knows where it originally emanates, but they are really trying to get, you know, gender ideology, critical gender theory, queer theory into schools. And again, targeting young students often because they are really looking to get children to become supporters of causes that they just don't understand.
Yeah, one thing that really outraged parents about this was that the training was also paid for with COVID CARES money 3 years ago. This is taxpayer dollars. Why was money that was supposed to go to COVID mitigation efforts spent on this?
Again, this is a nationwide trend. It was spent on this, I think, because, again, we were convinced, and most of us were on board, at least with the sum of that of that COVID money, because we were told schools cannot reopen without it. They cannot function without it. They won't be safe without it, right? So people say, okay, well, then I guess we need it. But what we've seen is that rather than being used for COVID mitigation, and even rather than being used for to target the learning loss and to begin to remediate students in math and reading and other subjects where it's desperately needed, they've instead taken this money and put it towards highly political and highly ideological causes. And so this is just another example of that. And it is frustrating, but I have to say, now that we're seeing it so broadly, one wonders if this was the plan all along.
Well, and then you have to question, too, whether officials even greenlighted this. They clearly didn't know about it as proof of their removal. And it also shows a clear lack of oversight in that state. But as you mentioned, we know this is across the board. This is not exclusive to Utah. Talk to us about the fact this happened in a largely conservative red state where parents and teachers might not think this is happening.
Yeah. What we have seen, and I think I've probably said on this show, is that whether we're talking about, you know, critical social justice or critical race theory or gender ideology or the hypersexualization in terms of content and also available texts, this is everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I don't mean to imply it's in every single school, because it's not in every single school, but it is in every single state. And again, this myth, it's easy to think, oh, this is Seattle, this is California, this is Massachusetts. No, this is Idaho, this is Utah, this is Kansas, this is Texas. And so it's just a reminder that people, again, they need to stop assuming that this is a blue city, blue state thing, and they also need to be really vigilant, because I'm not always convinced that the officials didn't know about it. Sometimes they know about it and then they get caught and they begin to scrub everything from the websites and they sort of, you know, go on defense. Other times it is true that you've got one rogue person in the district, they put something like this up, and officials actually do find themselves flat-footed and they didn't know about it. So we're not clear yet on what happened in Utah, just to say that at this point it's hard to know, but sometimes they know exactly what they're doing, and sometimes they are very unaware.
It shows the power also of one parent asking questions, one substitute teacher asking questions, which is exactly what happened in this case. Parents Defending Education's Director of Outreach, Erika Sanzi, thanks for talking to us this morning. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too.